Welcome, football connoisseurs. I'm Marcus Reynolds, lead analyst for the Global Football Review. Joining me is former Premier League midfielder and tactical analyst Alistair Finch. We're here to provide a detailed, data-driven critique of a packed week of football. A pleasure as always, Marcus. From MLS to the Championship, and from the FA Cup to the Champions League, this week had a bit of everything. Dominant displays, dramatic comebacks, and high-stakes tactical battles that will shape the rest of the season. Let's get into it. Monday, April 6th, MLS Nashville SC 5, Orlando City SC 0. We start in Nashville. The boys in gold delivered a statement victory at Geodis Park, dismantling their conference rivals with a dominant 5-0 win. The headline here is Sam Surridge. He scored a hat trick and now has 7 goals in just 4 MLS matches this season. Surridge was unplayable. His hat trick, the 4th of his MLS career, showed incredible variety. A poacher's finish from a ricochet, then a spectacular outside-of-the-boot finish into the far corner. But what impressed me most was the team's defensive discipline. Brian Schwach secured his 14th consecutive undefeated match as a starter and a clean sheet. A young backline featuring 20-year-old Reed Baker-Whiting at left back held firm. A complete performance, then? Almost. My critique is this: Orlando were abject. They offered no resistance after going behind. Nashville controlled the match from start to finish, but against a better side, you can't afford to take the foot off the gas. Still, this win puts Nashville top of the Eastern Conference and joint first in the Supporters' Shield race. They look the real deal. Tuesday, April 7th, FA Cup quarterfinal. Leeds United advance on penalties. A remarkable night in London. Leeds United reached the FA Cup semi-finals for the first time since 1987, winning 4-2 on penalties after a 2-2 draw at West Ham United. But the narrative of this match is almost unbelievable. Unbelievable is the right word. Leeds were 2-0 up and cruising. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had put away a penalty in the 75th minute to double their lead. Then, in the 93rd minute, West Ham pulled one back through Mateus Fernandes. 4 minutes later, Axel Disasi volleyed home an equalizer to force extra time. A sensational comeback. And then the penalty shootout. West Ham's debutant goalkeeper, Finlay Hurrick, who had come on for the injured Alfonso Areola, saved Leeds' first spot kick, but Leeds goalkeeper Lucas Perri was the hero, saving 2 penalties to send his side through. Perry's composure was remarkable. After Hurrick's save, the pressure was all on Leeds, but Perri denied Jared Bowen and then Pablo. Pascal Strike scored the winner to spark wild celebrations. Leeds have now won the FA Cup once back in 1972, and they'll face Chelsea at Wembley. What's your key critique? For West Ham, it's a monumental collapse. To be 2-0 down and fight back to 2-2 is heroic, but to then lose on penalties after their young keeper had given them the advantage is devastating. For Leeds, the concern is game management. How do you throw away a 2-goal lead that late? They'll need to be far more clinical if they want to reach the final. Still, ending a 39-year wait for a semifinal is a massive achievement. Wednesday, April 8th, UCL quarterfinal 1 leg. PSG 2, Liverpool 0. Now to the Champions League. Reigning champions Paris Saint-Germain took a commanding 2-0 lead over Liverpool in the first leg of their quarterfinal at the Parc des Princes. Goals from Doué and Kvaratskhelia gave PSG a vital advantage. This was a tactical masterclass from Luis Enrique. PSG dominated from the first whistle. They pressed high, exploited the spaces in Liverpool's experimental backline, and created chance after chance. In truth, the scoreline flattered Liverpool. PSG could have scored 4 or 5. Liverpool were unusually subdued. Arne Slot's side never got going in midfield and offered almost nothing going forward. It was their 16th defeat of the season. My critique is this: Liverpool lacked courage. They sat back, allowed PSG to dictate the tempo, and never looked like scoring. Mohamed Salah was left on the bench for the entire 90 minutes, which is an extraordinary decision in a Champions League knockout tie. Slot's tactics backfired.
PSG now travel to Anfield with a 2-goal cushion. Liverpool need a miracle in the second leg, but if anyone can produce it at Anfield, it's them.
Thursday, April 9th, UEL Quarterfinal 1 leg. Porto 1, Nottingham Forest 1. A huge result for Nottingham Forest in Portugal. They secured a 1-1 draw with Porto in the first leg of the Europa League quarterfinal, thanks to a bizarre own goal from Porto's Marquinhos Fernandes.
This was a classic smash and grab. Porto dominated possession and created numerous chances, outshooting Forest significantly. Forest's game plan was clear: stay disciplined, stay organized, and try to nick a goal on the break. They executed it perfectly. The own goal was extraordinary. Porto had taken the lead with Wendell Gomes, but Fernandes inadvertently turned the ball into his own net to even the scores. Forest's goalkeeper, Stefan Ortega, was immense, making several crucial saves. My critique is that Forest were too passive at times. They sat deep and invited pressure for long periods, and against a more clinical side, they could have been punished. However, a 1-1 draw away from home in a European quarterfinal is a fantastic result. Captain Ryan Yates summed it up perfectly. We'll take it back to the city ground, everything to play for. The second leg promises to be a cracker. Saturday, April 11th, EFL Championship. Oxford United 2, Watford 0. Back to domestic action. Oxford United secured a vital 2-0 home win against Watford at the Cassim Stadium, giving their survival hopes a massive boost. This was a game of two halves, but Oxford deserved the win. Miles Peart-Harris opened the scoring early, tapping in from close range after a Cameron Brannigan free kick caused chaos in the box. Oxford dominated the second half, creating chance after chance. Substitute Mark Harris sealed the win in stoppage time, intercepting a pass and finishing from a tight angle. The result moved Oxford up to 22nd place, just 1 point from safety. Watford, by contrast, were abject. They've now lost 7 of their last 9 games. My critique is aimed at Watford. They had nothing to play for, but that performance was unacceptable. The away fans were furious. For Oxford, it was a complete performance, but they've left it late. They have 4 games remaining and are still in the bottom 3. They need to replicate this level of performance in every remaining match to survive. Sunday, April 12th. Premier League title race heats up. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. A massive day in the Premier League title race. Manchester City produced a devastating second half to thrash Chelsea 3-0 at Stamford Bridge, cutting Arsenal's lead at the top to just 6 points with a game in hand. This was a statement of intent from Pep Guardiola's side. The first half was tepid, but after the break, City moved through the gears. Nico O'Reilly headed home a Rayon Cherki cross to open the scoring, his 6th goal in 11 games. Cherki then turned provider again, playing a superb pass to Mark Guehi, who finished low and accurately for the second. Jeremy Doku completed the scoring after robbing Moises Caicedo of possession. The title race is now firmly back on. Arsenal lost to Bournemouth on Saturday, and they now travel to the Etihad next weekend for a potential title decider. My critique is of Chelsea. They were timid, especially after the break. Their defensive lapses were punished ruthlessly. But the main takeaway is City's mentality. They didn't have Erling Haaland or Rodri among the goal scorers, but they still won convincingly. That depth is frightening. If City beat Arsenal next week, the gap could be just 3 points with a game still in hand. The momentum is firmly with the champions. Crystal Palace 2, Newcastle United 1. Meanwhile, at Selhurst Park, substitute Jean-Philippe Mateta scored a dramatic late double as Crystal Palace came back from behind to beat Newcastle United. Newcastle had taken the lead with William Osula in the first half and looked on course for a vital win. This was a devastating blow for Newcastle. They've now thrown away more points from winning positions, 25, than any other side in the Premier League. Crystal Palace equalized in the 80th minute through Mateta's header, and then in the first minute of stoppage time, Sven Botman was adjudged to have pulled Jefferson Lerma's shirt inside the box. Mateta stepped up and calmly slotted home the winner. The result saw Crystal Palace leapfrog Newcastle into 13th place, while Newcastle dropped to 14th. Eddie Howe's job is reportedly under increasing pressure. My critique is of Newcastle's fragility. They have a talented squad, but they lack a winning mentality. To concede twice so late after taking the lead is inexcusable at this level. For Crystal Palace, it was a perfect example of using your squad. Oliver Glasner brought on Mateta, Adam Wharton, and Ismail Sarr from the bench, and they changed the game. Mateta, in particular, has now scored crucial goals in both the league and Europe this week. Crystal Palace is building real momentum. So, to summarize the week's action, we saw Sam Surridge's early season goal spree propel Nashville to the top of MLS, Lucas Perri's penalty heroics end Leeds' 39-year FA Cup semi-final drought, PSG take a commanding lead over Liverpool in the Champions League, Nottingham Forest earn a vital away draw in Porto, Oxford United boost their survival